As I said, we would like to improve our code, and in that case, let the user to click only once. It will turn on and off, toggle between them. So we need to detect that the button was pressed and toggle the LED on and off from the last state. If it was off, then we'll turn it on. If it was on, let's turn that off. Very simple, meaning in that specific point where you see the blue triangle, we will know that the button was pressed. However, we need to handle some phenomena that is called switch bouncing, and let's explain that issue and how exactly we can solve that. While working with buttons, we just can't look for the value of the switch to change from low to high or from high to low, as we need to handle a problem that is called switch bouncing. Let's understand the problem over here. Buttons are mechanical devices that operate much more slower than our Arduino system. In other words, when we push a button down, the signal we will read does not just go from low to high. It bounces, fluctuates up and down between those two states for a few milliseconds before it will stabilize. Now, during this bouncing time, our program may translate that to several events of button press. And actually, it's only one press. The good news is that we can easily handle that using a software code, and it will be a good example for building a little bit more complicated sketch. Now, before jumping into the sketch itself, let's understand the logic of what we are planning to do. The following diagram presents the status of a button during one single event of a user pressing this button. Now, as you see, there are two short periods of bouncing when it is being pressed and, of course, when released. The software solution for handling switch bouncing is a little bit tricky, but it's actually based on some simple logic. What we will do is hold the last button state in a variable, in a new variable, and keep reading the current button value all the time. In case the current value is now high, meaning someone just pressed the button, then the program will wait for 5 milliseconds to let the switch status to stabilize, and only then we will read it again. This will help us to avoid the bouncing period, solving one part of the problem. Now, of course, the current value will stay high as long as the button is being pressed, okay, even if that for a short period, and also will bounce again when it is being released. However, we would like to toggle our LEDs only one time at the starting point, and that's all. This is why we will check our two variables, current button state and last button state. Now think about it for a second. What condition we can check to ensure that we will only toggle the LED only once? Well, the condition will be if the current is now high and last was low. That's the condition that we will check. Let's see that in the final sketch result.